All right, all right. Welcome in. Big Orange Breakdown Wednesday, October 23rd. A few days after we have beat the Crimson Tide for the second time um, in as many years in Knoxville, Tennessee. Going to break down a little bit of film from the game the other night. Jordan, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Anything you want to talk about before we get into the film?
I just another great environment, another great game. It feels great to beat Alabama after going through 15, 16, 17 years of not being able to do it. So any win against them, I'll take it. It's kind of like what we talked about with Florida last week. You beat one of your arch rivals, it doesn't matter what it looks like or how it is, you'll take it and you run with it.
100%. So tons of good stuff. A little bit of not so great stuff, especially that stuff in the first half. But we're not digging into like every single play. We're just going to show some plays that stood out to us as a little bit of good and a little bit of the bad. And we'll talk about a couple plays probably that we don't have on film too.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of plays in this game that we could have been on here for 2 or 3 hours breaking down. There's a lot of different things. There's so much that I could sit here and talk about for hours. But we can't be on here that long, so we picked 4, 5, 6 plays to kind of look at, and I'm excited to get into it and look at it. Me and you've talked about it last week against Florida, and it's the same thing in the Alabama game. The offense is really, really close. It's really close. If they can just execute on a few things here and there, get in sync, Nico can get in sync with his deep ball. This is going to look like the Josh Heupel offense that we're used to seeing if they can just figure it out. They got a bye week, so hopefully come out of this bye week, they can continue this momentum, get in sync, and the offense come out in this back half of the season and explode.
Yeah. Second half, we scored the top of points that we expect in a Josh Heupel offense to score in a half.
Yeah, the second half looked more like a Josh Heupel offense. And same thing in the Florida in the second half of that too. It looked more like a Josh Heupel offense. So if they can just figure out how to do it for 4 quarters instead of 2 quarters, then this team, the missing element of this football team of winning the national championship is the offense clicking. And if the offense can click along with this defense, Tennessee is a legitimate top 3 team in the country that can win the whole thing.
Yeah. No. If you just get the offense to giving you, if this offense scores 15 a half, it's probably not going to lose any more football games.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
All right, let's get into it. First play we're going to look at right here. You want me to give you I'm going to give you the con on this one because go ahead and describe what we're going to be looking at, and I'll try to draw for you. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
What you're going to see, you tell me where they're going, and I'll draw your guys because I know who you want me to draw probably.
Yeah, the first thing that I'll say on this play is this season Tennessee did a lot of pin and pull with their tackle and their guard pulling around for counter. It's been a staple of their offense, especially over the last 3 weeks. You'll have your tight end block down on the defensive end. You'll pull your left tackle, right guard, or vice versa, depending on which side of the formation you want to pull them from. And then your center, your right guard, and your left tackle to block down. And it's basic counter for Dylan Sampson. But the wrinkle on this play, instead of running that, which we put on film, and Alabama, I'm sure throughout the week was prepped for and told about this tendency. We did a wrinkle off this and made it what's called bash counter, which is the same concept except for your tight end blocking down the defensive end. He takes a step as if he's going to. He arcs back out, and it's actually a read for Nico. The responsibilities are reversed with Nico and Sampson. It's a read for Nico. If the defensive end comes too far upfield, he can keep it, and he can run behind the counter, which he actually does in the third quarter coming out of halftime.
Nico would be here.
Yep, Nico would be coming there if the defensive end crashes too far upfield to take the handoff to Sampson away. If the defensive end kind of crashes inside, to take away the counter that he thinks is coming, then you can give it to Dylan Sampson coming off the back side of the play to Miles Kitselman being basically a fullback as a lead blocker, which is what ends up happening on this play.
So that's the beginning of the play, right? That's where this all starts. This is what we're doing: down block, down block, down block, pull, tight end. Shows that he's pinning, but he's actually going to fake the pin and he's going to lead block. And then the handoff actually is going to go to Sampson. Beautifully designed, is going to work for like a 10 yards before anybody makes contact with your running back with the way the play was designed and the way it was blocked.
Yeah. And would you
go ahead.
I was going to say, when you push play on this, watch your linebackers and then watch the field safety bite on the counter, because they're watching the tackle and guard pull, and they take steps to the pulling side, and they think it's going to be the staple that we've been running, and it leaves the boundary side of the field just completely wide open. I think Kitselman on this play, I think he's kind of staring inside a little bit, and because the linebackers and the safeties bite so hard, I think that he thinks Nico kept the football, which is why he doesn't come out and actually block the safety like the play is designed to do, and it allows the safety to make a play and help hold him up to get the strip sack.
Now on TV live, it seemed like something happened with this play. Weird. At the snap. Like we snapped it too fast. Like it was something seemed off, like the play wasn't happening almost. And then it was. I wonder if there was an inadvertent whistle that made and that Kitselman hurt. I don't know what it was. And you're probably right. Kitselman probably just thought that Nico kept it. Because if you look, so here's what you're talking about, the linebackers and the safety. These three guys are downhill to try to stop from the counter coming back at him, which would be what we do a ton of with these two guys pulling. It's hand the ball here, and Sampson comes here and then counters.
Yeah,
and they're all playing it exactly like that, but that's not what we're doing, which is beautiful. But this play side end does kind of give you the look like he's taking the running back, where Nico could have kept it. It was almost like Nico had two good options and he didn't know. I mean, he went ahead and had an option that was great.
Yep.
It's just Kitselman gets lost on the play, and you and I have talked about it a little bit off the air too. I think you're right. I think he just thought Nico kept it and the ball went the other way, but I'm not sure, because if you watch right here, there, you don't see a guy blocking downfield on a run play in front of a guy who's in space just standing up straight. I mean, he is erect.
And the only defender at that point right there between Dylan Sampson and the end zone is the safety right there at the SEC logo. If Kitselman had continued his momentum and just come up and got a hand, just hit him, knocked him one way or the other, there's two holes there for Sampson to hit full speed to get into the end zone. I wish I'd have added the Skycast version to this cut up, because you can see it a lot better in the Skycast version for behind the play. But if Kitselman just continues his momentum forward and blocks the safety here, and it allows Sampson to get to, because Sampson kind of slowed up too, because Kitselman slowed up. If they're both running full speed and Kitselman can just get a hat on the safety, to me it's a touchdown for Sampson with his speed and his ability to accelerate.
If Kitselman just, who we have circled, if he just, Jordan, goes and forces that defender, he doesn't even have to block him. If he could have just forced the defender to choose this side or that side, then Sampson can break it the other way. Either one of those arrows we got going. If Kitselman goes at him, he forces the safety to choose one side or the other, and Sampson can choose the opposite.
Yep.
He would be better off to choose this side, because then if Sampson comes here, it brings two into the play. If he chooses here, it's a touchdown. If he chooses the sideline, Sampson's going to go middle, and there's nobody left.
And to me, right now, it looks like the nearest corner there, I think it's number 2, it looks like he can make the play, But I think that if Kitselman is running full speed and Sampson is running full speed on this play, I don't think Two's getting off the tackle quick enough to affect Sampson to either, like you were talking about, choose. Does he choose to get to the sideline and cut it upfield, or does he choose to cut it back inside if Sampson is able to continue his momentum and his acceleration through this entire play? And again, this is back-to-back weeks where Tennessee on the first drive has it scripted perfectly, has it dialed up perfectly, perfect play call, and a turnover stalls the drive out. You should have put seven. I mean, you and I talked about last week about the mesh mishap between Sampson and Nico, how that might have been a touchdown for Nico with his acceleration and speed. This is probably another touchdown. So back-to-back weeks where you, at minimum, left 3 points off the board, and very likely left 7 off the board by turnovers on back-to-back opening drives.
Yes, this is we didn't score in the first half again in a football game, and right here was worst case three points. And Sampson, I'm not going to forget. I'm not saying Sampson. It's okay for him to fumble either. I mean, it's his first fumble in his career. He's been elite at holding on the football, but more of the blame, I guess, would be on your blocker just freeze framing right there.
Yeah.
So, worst case scenario, if Sampson holds on to the ball and just doesn't fumble, just wraps it up. Sampson gave a little forearm. I don't know if you noticed it watching the replay. Sampson uses his forearm, the off arm, to try to clear Malachi Moore off of him when he's spinning off the first tackle. And I would like for Sampson to have had that arm just over top of the football.
Yeah.
2 arms on the ball when you're in traffic. But again, it really comes down to we left 3 points right there.
Yeah.
Simple as that. 3 points. Worst case scenario, we're up 3-0. All right, now we're going to jump ahead in the action. We have moved all the way to late first quarter. And this is do you want me to take this one?
You can. Go ahead.
This is simply, I did that well. I did that well, I said. This is Aaron Carter right here. He has running back here. Responsibility. It's man. He is just isolated with the running back. He is supposed to, in that this down and distance, force the running back to take the sideline and run with him, stay inside leverage. If the ball goes to him, he uses the boundary, tackles him for a 4 or 5 yard gain is the way the technique's taught on this. And he gets caught up because he's halfway chipping the tight end.
Yep.
Right here. And that's fine. That part of it's fine. But it takes him off balance, and he lets the running back who's running an angle route, a Texas route. Some people, it's called a lot of different things. I've always referred to as an angle route. It's just a 90-degree. Running back shows you flat and hard 90-degree cut back to the middle of the field. And that's a terrible drawing by me right there. It should be more around here to the line of scrimmage and then angled back over the middle of the field. If you're the linebacker, you're happy with him going out, and you just keep your body between him and the middle, so you're the one in front when he comes back across the middle is the technique.
Yeah, and to add on that too, real quick, is it's cover 0, so the middle of the field is open. It's man everywhere, so you want to prevent him from getting in. You want to prevent him from getting in the middle of the field where it's wide open. You want to use the boundary or the sideline as an extra defender, which is why you see all your DBs on this play playing inside leverage, using the sideline as more of a defender, not allowing him to come across your face and getting inside. And like you mentioned, Aaron Carter looks like he tries to chip the tight end at the line of scrimmage, and he gets him off balance to where he can't square up with the running back, and that allows the running back to put his foot in the ground, angle it back inside, and be wide open.
Yeah, so we'll stop it when the running back gets to his peak on the angle. So right here, because Carter got caught chipping the tight end, which he's supposed to do that first, he's letting, now you can clearly see running backs got inside leverage.
Yep.
And Carter and running backs got momentum going downhill. Carter's still in a lateral momentum. It's bad news, and you just do not want this on. Once you got him in 3rd and 10, you're like, hey, 3 points. That's great. 3 points right there. I mean, if you just had forced him out here to the sideline or took away middle, pass rush is going to get to him before you release the ball. Pierce has him dead to rights right here.
Yep.
So you're forcing him to settle for a field goal. Instead, they get down to the 4-yard line. Luckily, we know what happened on the next play. Really bad decision by the quarterback on the next play. Here's the angle of the play from behind.
You see, he tries to chip.
You can see his balance being lost on chipping. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That the tight end knocked Carter a little wider than he should have been. And then we let him have the inside. Next play, we all know there was Milroe throws an interception. McCoy with a just fantastic defensive play. Milroe not exactly throwing it or playing it perfect. This right here, the touchdown pass to Brazil, the deep ball to Thornton are going to get a ton of praise, and they both deserve it. Both great throws. Hitting that deep ball on the run is really incredible. But I love this throw right here. Rolling to your left, your receiver, Brew, who's just running a deep route, just running a deep over, recognizes that your quarterback has been flushed and rolling this way, and Brew just mirrors him and works back and gives him somebody else to throw to. Just works back, mirroring his quarterback, exactly what you want to see from your veteran. Really, really great play. And a heck of a nice read and throw by your quarterback on a full dead sprint to your weak arm.
Yep.
I mean, Nico has nowhere to go. Nico, I mean, he could have pump faked the guy, got this guy in the air possibly. Dobbs was maybe as good as I've ever seen anybody doing that. I think it was Dobbs' best quality is his ability to pump fake and get somebody to leave their feet and then keep running. He might have got him in there and then he could be able to run for the first down. Nevertheless, Nico, with a guy in his face, his legs reversed to where you want your legs being planted when you're throwing a football.
Yep.
And he throws an absolute seed to Brew, who works back for him into space.
It's him right in the face mask with the football. I mean,
This
it's
is
just
the
a perfect NFL throw.
Oh, yeah, big time. And it was the exact play before the next plays when Nico rolls out the same way, has nowhere to go, was trying to throw the football to the band, and the defensive lineman catches his arm blindly from behind, and the ball flutters and ends up in a pick. Again, a drive where we had a guaranteed 3 points. So now we got 6 at half. If we just have those two minus a couple deep throws we haven't shown that were missed, if you get in the red zone, take care of that leather object with laces on it.
That's a good point, Rusty. I saw a stat earlier today. We're one of the best teams in the country at driving to get into the red zone, but we're below average nationally in points per red zone trip. And that's one of the things that is killing us right now is we're driving the ball, we're getting it into the red zone. We're showing plays where we're getting into the red zone where we should be getting points, and then we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. And if they and it's to us or to me, and we talked about this last week, it's not things that the defense is doing to slow us down. It's things that we're doing to ourselves, fumbling the football, jumping off sides, Nico getting his arm hit when he should have thrown the ball away sooner than what he did, and then it causing an interception. Just it's not anything that the defense is drawing up to stop us. We're just shooting ourselves in the foot to prevent us from putting points on the board.
And add to it, both of the drives we're talking about, neither one of those counted as us as red zone as we pierced the red zone. Because we never snapped it in the red zone on either drive. So that's, I mean, that would be 2 more crushing our percentage. We just have to start valuing the football in the red zone, which we do in the second half. We did in the second half against Florida.
Yep.
Points are at a premium right now. And when this defense is as good as it is, like 19 points, it will win football games with his defense.
Yeah.
Now, I'd love to have 35-40 in the rest of our games this year.
This is student body right here.
When's the last time that you saw your backside tight end, tackle, and guard pull in unison? Was it Paul Horning at Notre Dame last time you saw that?
Probably. It and this. I mean, this is just another wrinkle again that Heupel had. I think you and I can't remember if it was a Twitter space we were on, or it might have been one of the first shows that we did on here, and we said, "Hey, when are we going to start seeing some wrinkles in this offense to add some new stuff that teams haven't seen to get this offense going?" The last 2 weeks, you started to see some new wrinkles added in, and the first play we went over in this breakdown is one of those. This is another one of those too, where again we have shown a tendency that we're going to pin and pull the guard, pull the tackle. Tight end is going to block down. On this play, tight end pulls with the guard and the tackle, and and if you want to take this when you can, the one thing that I'll add is the safety crashed down. He came in on a safety blitz to come around to the backside, and a really, really good job by Holden Staes here. He should be pulling and following the guard and tackle and becoming another lead blocker, but I think he sees late out of the corner of his eye the pressure coming inside, and he turns and chips or it hits the defensive end crashing in. Which allows Sampson just enough room to bounce this thing outside. Because if Holden Staes doesn't realize this and get a piece of this guy, it's a tackle for loss.
2-yard loss. Yeah, that's why I kept Staes highlighted, because I wanted to point that out before I click play again. What Staes does here is instinctual and brilliant, because this backside defender is pursuing it basically at full speed while Sampson is behind his blockers waiting for his blocks to set up.
Yep.
Le'Veon Bell-esque, waiting, and then going to go. And Staes recognizes that backside guy, and he freezes and turns back to him and just takes him off of his forward momentum, which gives Sampson all the time he needs. It's just a really great play by Staes. Uh-oh. We are froze over here. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Bear with me. We have technical difficulties all of a sudden. This is new. I have no control right now. I can draw. That's great. Boom. Fixed it. Took a little while. We got there. Okay. Still don't have action, Jordan. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, maybe that'll help. I may have to go without. I do. Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to go without my pointer and clicker and drawer.
That's fine.
Yep. There we go. Sorry about that.
You're good.
If you're out there watching, it's not working with the drawer. So I want everybody, when I release this, just to watch Holden Stays, who is the H-back. Come on now. Stays is right here at the up back. He takes 2 defenders out of that play that are basically at full speed. Now Sampson's got the alley. And if the field was 4 yards wider, it's a touchdown.
Yep. Really good job by Dante Thornton on that too, keeping a hold of his block. Here's the backside look. Stays, sees it out of his corner of his eye and comes back and takes that defender out of the play, which allows Sampson to stay on his feet. Because if Stays doesn't come back and chip that guy, as you said, it's a 2 to 3 yard loss. Good job by Thornton out here staying on his block, not letting the DB come back into the play.
Honestly, I think the play's designed to go inside and Sampson bounces.
It is. Yep. Because I think he feels the pressure from where Stays is blocking the guy. And, I mean, if that backside pressure doesn't come around and Stays can stay on his feet, there was going to be a hole there.
Yeah.
There was going to be a hole there that Sampson was going to follow Stays straight through, and it still would have been an explosive play.
No, I totally agree. Joshy wants to know earlier why Kitzelman was standing up on that one play. Well, brother, we think we know, but we really don't know 100% because it's not what he's been taught to do. But anyway, all right. 2nd and 8, third quarter, 2nd 16, third quarter. This is going to be a really, really great play by your quarterback. He gets closed in. Pretty good rush integrity by Alabama to squeeze the pocket and not just get out of their lanes. And your 6'6", 220-pound quarterback still found a way to get small and squeeze through and find a hole. And then he does a great job with, as we talked about a little while ago, throwing up a pump fake and having the defender just get lost in space. And then he makes a great cutback move. Might have scored had he just kept running with all his might, but clearly he's been coached to whenever he knows there's a for sure defender in his area that's going to get a hand on him, to go ahead and just, you got the first down, don't risk him falling on your legs because you're trying to gain 3 extra yards.
Yeah.
So,
and on this play, I was going to say on this play, what ends up happening is the offensive line is down blocking to the left in pass protection. So your left tackle has to stand up linebacker. I can't tell if that's the nickelback or linebacker. So everybody's down blocking. And I'm going to steal something from what Brooks Austin said earlier in his film breakdown. He just said that this was a great call by Alabama's defensive coordinator to seeing what Tennessee normally does in this situation, which is to have the offensive line down block, leave your right tackle coming down blocking also. And he brings a twist with the blitz, and both of those inside linebackers are coming. And Spraggins initially takes the defensive end and takes him, and Davis is going to take the blitzer that's to his right. But at the last second, Spraggins sees the middle linebacker coming around on a stunt on a blitz, and he tries to trade off responsibilities with Davis, but Davis doesn't see him coming on the blitz. And he doesn't trade it off at enough time and then puts Spraggins on an island, and Spraggins gets beat, which puts the pressure on Nico.
Yeah, I'm trying not to – this is one time the line lost, but it was actually just one of those times that the defense had it dialed up really well to attack us. So I don't want to crush the guys. It wasn't as much physical as it was they just beat us once. And luckily – sometimes when you get beat, you need to have a stud at quarterback that can get you out of being beat. And on the play, it turned out it happened.
Yeah, it's a miscommunication. To me, it's just a miscommunication by Spraggins and Dane Davis here.
Yeah.
I think that's Davis.
It
might be Campbell.
It's Davis.
It's Davis.
I mean, right here, they have rushed him properly to not go by him, but give Sampson and no, that is Campbell. Give
That is
Campbell and
Campbell.
Sampson both credit for at least staying engaged with the guys. They're pushing on them just enough that does allow Nico to wiggle free. And then right here again, he gives 5 a really nice ball fake. 5. Again, what do you never do? What should you never do if you want to be on balance? You should never have one foot cross over the other one.
Yep.
And the defender just karaoke's like we're in warm-ups. Whoa! Oh, I'm beat now.
And this is another one of those plays where I wish I would have added the Skycast version, because if we could see the Skycast version, Dante Thornton has one-on-one at the bottom of the screen, and he actually has a step if you see it from behind the quarterback view, he actually has a step on the DB. Yeah. And if this would have been blocked up correctly, there's another potential shot play into the end zone to Dante Thornton.
And right here, I feel like if Nico would have stayed upright in full speed, because he's as fast as any of the guys that have the angles, he might have gotten the end zone. But again, he's clearly been coached. If you feel it and you know there's a guy going to get his hands on you, just stay healthy. And he's clearly giving himself up pretty early, which was actually, hey, it's a great play. You get first and goal at the 7-yard line. We know what happens on the next play with that. Sampson gets in the end zone. Now, I'm sure everybody knows what this play is. We know the down and distance was 3rd and 6, late third quarter. So you and I talked about this. What do you think the actual real options were for Nico on this play?
I think this is this the one where the play clock ends up running down and we take?
Yeah, this is the previous. So yeah, I want you to walk us through the play clock expiring that leads us to the next play where we don't snap it right here.
Yeah. So what I think happened here, play clock starting to run down. Alabama has had a tendency this entire season in these situations to show pressure and play cover 1 or cover 0 on the back end. They're playing at the sticks. It's man-to-man coverage. Nico sees that, and he's talking to his offensive line to set the protection the correct way. It's just taking him a long time to get to it and to set it. So what ends up happening is Tennessee ends up calling a timeout to save a delay of game penalty. But I want people to look where Sampson at, which is in the backfield to Nico's right. And then you got looks like Ethan Davis is up top to the boundary and the slot. This is before the timeout is called. So we're going to end up calling timeout here. And then when we come out of the timeout, I'll show you what I think Josh Heupel ended up doing on this.
We have them. They're in zero man. You have man. I believe this linebacker has Sampson as his responsibility. If Sampson blocks, he's to mirror Sampson and rush. Then you have man and man. You just have man across the board. Yep. And we're going to call a timeout.
This is just a coaching staff on Tennessee's side understanding the tendencies of what the opponent has been doing all season long and game planning for it and seeing it and executing it during the football game. So we call a timeout here. And the next clip is going to be the formation of when we come out of the timeout.
Same exact kind of distance. We're out of the timeout.
Yep. And
now Sampson's at the top of your screen.
Yep.
Brew's inside him.
Yep.
Now your tight end, who was previously where Brew is, he is now to the wide side, but not stacked on the line of scrimmage tight. He is up with a little bit of space. And then you have, I think, Brazil and Thornton.
Yep. And Bama comes out and the same thing they showed before the timeout. The same formation, the same everything. Yeah, because it's a tendency that they've had all season long. Like that's what they've done. And Heupel saw that before the timeout, said, okay, they're probably going to do this again because they've been doing it all year long. So let me change up my formation to get us in the best play possible. And that's exactly what he does here. He puts Kitselman in there to be able to come down and chip looks like the defensive end to help allow Nico to roll out of the pocket here. This is a design rollout. and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. Really what he wants to do with Kitselman is whoever the widest guy that comes upfield is, he wants Kitselman to pin them inside.
Yep.
And that's it. That's up. And then whoever else blocks here, just let all these other guys catch them in the wash. That's all you got to do. Don't even have to block them that well. Just make sure they get caught up in momentum because it's a 2-receiver route. Your 2 receivers at the top are doing nothing. They're not in the play at all. There's an out route right here from Brazil to the sticks. I don't think it's much of the play. I think if this defender had blitzed and just left him wide open, or if this guy falls down, maybe Nico throws it. But I think Josh talked at the sideline that he was like, if your receiver is even when you roll, I want you taking the shot on this play. If not, we'll pin them deep with a punt.
Yep. You see Kitselman blocks down on the defensive end. That allows Nico.
They actually didn't stay in zero. They dropped out of zero and had this guy who was showing man become a 2 deep, and Moore, who was showing blitz, dropped in to where they were playing they were basically in cover 5. But no way Malachi Moore is getting to this deep half when Thornton's just running a straight takeoff. This defender does a good job by staying wide to make sure Nico can't just scamper for the first down easily.
Yep.
This guy does a really good job with his assignment. Now, I'm not sure if anybody's ever played quarterback in their lives that's watching this or that watches this in the future. Thanks if you're going to watch tomorrow. By the way, we are up on YouTube on the Big Orange Breakdown channel. If you come watch over there, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps us out a little bit. But back to being a quarterback, throwing the football, how you've done your whole life. It's fun to go out in the backyard and just toss it around, run around and throw it. And that's a guy running around throwing it. But pretty much no quarterback coach has ever taught a guy you should probably release the ball while both feet aren't touching the ground.
We can't see it from this camera angle. You can see it on the replay from the TV broadcast. Probably should have added that in here too. But it was a really good job by Dante closing the space between him and the DB. And the DB tries to get handsy with Dante and tries to slow him down. But Dante does a really good job of knocking his hands off of him and staying in his stride and running right by him to create the separation that allowed him to have the separation to catch this football.
He kind of does the lean into the defender thing, take the defender's momentum away, and then he used the defender's momentum to push himself back up, off, and accelerate again. You're right. And just so we're clear, I wasn't knocking Nico for throwing that ball the way he did. It was a guy who was just making an unbelievably athletic and an accurate throw. If he can make that throw, he can make all the other throws.
It's what makes it so frustrating as a fan, and I'm sure it makes Heupel frustrated and Nico frustrated and the offense frustrated, is the throw that we talked about.
Oh, you just muted yourself. You're muted, Jordan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The throw to Brew earlier and this throw, that's an elite NFL throw, and it's what makes it so frustrating is the fact that he makes these throws look so easy, but then he'll have a receiver running wide open with nobody around him downfield, and he'll overthrow him by 5 yards.
Squirrel on drive number 2, running a simple, skinny post with no safety help, and he's got 6 yard separation, and he just misses it by 3 yards. It's just something that can't happen. But I want to talk about this right quick because this is a perfect time to bring this up. The great Christopher Gabriel, who you got to hang out with this weekend, tailgate with, party with. I guess he was hanging out with a lot of our other buddies too at tailgates. Chris in Fresno, as he's known over at Fan Run Radio, and joins Russ's show all the time with Bear in Houston. Chris and I were on a phone call earlier today, just shooting the breeze, talking about the weekend's festivities and the game and everything. And we were talking about this very thing, hitting this kind of throw and then missing that throw to Squirrel. And it occurred to me, and me and him talking and bantering things back and forth like he and I do. I think it's a guy. You ever played basketball with that guy that shoots it better from three than he does at the foul line?
Yeah.
It was that throw to Squirrel was a foul shot. He's got a clean pocket, both feet perfectly on the ground, wide open target. Nobody's guarding it. Basically, it's just you and the rim, and you hold your breath like you've always trained yourself. Take a deep breath, do your dribble routine, and just make the foul shot. But you guys think about it too much when they're at the foul line, as opposed to this throw is we're in transition. I'm sprinting to the corner. I catch the ball. Don't have time to take a breath. Don't have time to think about it. I just catch it and shoot it and rip it like I've done 100 billion times playing pickup with my boys. That's what this throw is.
Yep.
Nico's a guy right now that he's making the tough throws, the live in game where there's no thinking about it throws. He's not making those right now, and he's making those, and he's not making the easy foul shots because it's those that really where the anxiety can build in whenever it's too easy. He's going to start knocking down his foul shots. It's coming.
And when he does, the offense is going to take off because we have receivers running wide open all over the place.
We're not throwing the ball exceptionally well right now. It's obvious. We're not throwing it terribly. We're not throwing it terribly, but we're not throwing it exceptionally well. And our running back is still dominating the conference in every rushing category basically that you can.
If we think Dylan Sampson and our run game is pretty good right now, wait till we start hitting some D shots and getting the safeties and the overhang linebackers out of the box.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Let safeties have to get into a back pedal on 1st and 10 every now and then because they're worried about guys and make a safety not want to be coming downhill because they're worried that Squirrel's going to be running down the seam or Brazil or whoever is going to be coming down the seam at him at full speed. Yeah. Dylan Sampson will look even better if we just help him out a little bit by hitting some of these splash plays.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to show this play because not so much anything scheme-wise on either team. This is just an example of James Pierce is a freaking freak. And while I probably am glad we didn't get it called because I would not like the score being 17-16, I actually would rather have the punt out of their own end zone, having the ball down 3, as opposed to getting 2 points and then them kicking off from the 25. This should have been a safety. The right tackle clearly just tackles James Pierce when he's got an easy sack on Milroe in the end zone. Should have been a hold in the end zone, automatic safety, just wasn't called. We got away with a few calls the other night too. Don't get me wrong. A couple times after when McCoy was out banged up, Gibson got a little handsy with the Williams kid, and we got away with it. But just Pierce is a freak right here, and the guy had no choice but to hold him. And the refs, apparently, it's hard to see because it was right where the play was happening that Pierce was being hit.
Right there.
It gets worse at the very end. Right here, 57 puts his left hand, when 57 grabs his hip with his left hand like he's on a dog sled team and he's holding on to the straps, trying to stay balanced on the sled right there. Nevertheless, great job. I think that's Carter. I think that's Arian who mirrored Milroe, so Milroe couldn't run for the first down. Nowhere to really go with the ball with any chance of really making a play. Great job by the team. I'll tell you one thing that stands out to me. Huge difference in the ball game was we stayed committed to the run and they didn't. And when by the run, I mean handing it to our running backs. Their first 7 plays in the second half were handoffs. I think they averaged like 6 yards a carry, even though we ended up getting them off the field after they got 2 first downs. They still ran the ball well enough. They didn't really stay committed to it the rest of the night. It was Milroe, go make plays for us. We stayed committed to the run, and then we got pressure with 4. They had to blitz to get pressure. That to me was the bigger difference in the ball game. We never had to really like bring extra guys to get in the backfield, and they did. You want to talk about this play?
Yeah, this is the go-ahead touchdown. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Again, going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, Alabama's tendency of cover 0, cover 1. It's cover 1. They're man across one high safety. Tennessee sees that. Squirrel out went out earlier in the game, and this was kind of unique that they put Brazil in the slot up top, where he's usually playing outside. And it's just a really good job by Brazil coming up as he approaches the defensive back. He kind of gives a hesitation as if he's getting ready to break inside or outside, and it makes the DB hesitate also, and then it gives just enough room for Brazil to run by the defensive back. And it's a great job by Nico putting this out in space, out in front of Brazil for him to run underneath it, making an incredible catch. But again, it goes back to the tendencies and the coaching staff understanding what Alabama is going to be in certain situations and calling certain plays for those situations. And this was the perfect play call in this situation, 3rd and 5, 6 minutes to go against cover 1. And another elite NFL top throw by Nico.
Yeah, something else about this throw, and you're right, Brazil gives him just a little shimmy that freezes his hips and lets him get by. Great call. You know you're going to get one-on-one on the slot fade. This is a throw that Nico knows he can't use his arm. He just has to throw it to a spot with touch, and he clearly does it with ease. Yep. Perfect throw. This is the kind of thing where he's got to learn when squirrel's that wide open, this is the type of throw he needs to make. Just a touch throw, easy, doesn't need to show off the arm. Just throw it to a spot, a 5-yard radius that squirrel can either catch it perfectly in stride, speed up a little bit for it, slow down a little bit for it. Just make it easy by throwing it with a lot of touch. And he has the talent. He just is just rushing just a hair. But right here tells you he has all the arm talent in the world.
Yeah.
This is throwing to a perfect spot where your guy has a chance. And this is a much, much, much harder throw than any of the deep balls when your guy's got separation and there's green grass in front of them. Because you have a boundary that this is going to run out of real estate here. And he perfectly places it.
Perfectly placed football. Great catch by Brazil.
Yep. And I don't know. And an obvious face mask too.
Yeah, I saw that on the replay too.
Yeah. Okay, this is just a similar play to what we saw last week in Florida, where we're going to have Ethan Davis in the game lined up at tight end along the line. Last week we pump fake a bubble screen where Davis comes out here like he's going to block. He runs basically to the hash and then back to the middle, and you have Carrick and Cooper setting up a middle screen for the tight end for them to take on the two guys that they see in green grass after they let the rushers come through. This is different. Davis doesn't pop out because we're not showing a bubble screen. Nico's just showing a downfield throw. It's always a screen to the tight end. Similar type play, but just a hair off. Last week we didn't block it right. This week you and I have talked about it. Have we settled on we think Davis got too far to the middle and should have stayed basically on the same line of latitude that he's on right now and not get so close to the equator, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to me, Coop being in the way and having to duck his head kind of gives it away that I think Ethan Davis was in the wrong spot.
Like Davis should be catching the ball here, right?
Yep.
And he ends up basically where Coop snapped the ball from was where he catches it. And if you look at this point, these two guys should be further downfield than Davis is.
Ethan Davis should have just come off the line, basically turned around, and instead he come off the line and went inside back to where the ball was being snapped from and gets right in the middle of Coop's way of getting down to make the block. Coop has to duck just so Ethan Davis can catch it.
Davis should have had both feet well behind the black line is another thing. He should have been nowhere near crossing the line of scrimmage. And when he catches it, he's across. So here's the other thing. Had Coop and Carrick went and made these blocks, they would have called us for an eligible man downfield. Because you can't have these guys across the line of scrimmage and Davis catching the ball across the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So Davis is not supposed to cross the black line. Last week, I think it was on the blockers' fault when we ran it against Florida. This is more on Davis should have been catching the ball wide of where Carrick's currently standing. About right here with Coop going to this guy, Carrick getting to the other safety, and Davis just following them behind like a running back, running through a hole, letting his blocks get set up, and he would have clearly got to the first down marker, and we may have never had Alabama touch the ball again.
Yep.
But instead, the ball gets thrown here where Coop's not going anywhere near that block because it wasn't designed to go over there.
Yep.
Nevertheless, was it a great play call, Jordan?
I think it was a great play call in a situation. The players just have to execute.
Fantastic play call. I think Davis just was the one guy who didn't execute it correctly.
I mean, I think, going back to the Florida game and this game, Heupel is dialing it up. Like, he's calling the right plays in the right situations, and the players are just not executing at a high level. Everybody's, talked about 2022 and the hooker and the high offense and everything. Heupel's calling the same type of plays where you have shot plays where guys are wide open. He's calling the same perfect plays and situations. It's just the difference is that 2022 team executed plays at a really elite high level. And right now, this team on offense is not executing at an elite level that they need to for the offense to take off. If they can find, again, as I mentioned coming in to this, if they can just find the execution of being in sync and doing the right things on a consistent basis, this offense can be just as good as the 2022 because all the weapons are there. The run game's there. The quarterback's there. The receivers are there. The running back's there. It's all there. They just have to execute. It's not that the defense is making perfect play calls in situations or scheming perfect things up to slow the offense down, or it's just our guys on offense are not executing at the highest level they need to.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree. And bringing up 2022, we went scoreless in the second half at Pitt, and then we went basically the next week very, very little offense for the first 26 minutes of the Florida game.
Yeah.
We're basically the last 2 weeks kind of where we were at that time of the year, which that was games 2 and games 3 of that season. This is game 6 and game 7. We're behind where that offense was of starting to put it all together, but it feels like a semblance of getting close. Like that offense was about to take off really close to halftime of the Florida game, and it basically never looked back after that deep throw where Keaton laid out and caught a horizontal horizontal to the ground, perpendicular layout catch. That was the moment where our offense pretty much never had any real bumps in the road the rest of the season.
Yep.
This offense is almost there. We're just a little bit behind it. And most of the reason we're a little behind it is because we had a quarterback that year that was making his 15th start in the offense at that point. And we have a quarterback right now making his 7th start in this offense. So, yeah, again, this is a beautifully designed play. If Davis just catches the ball here for Nico to throw to, it's a first down. And Davis may have got a lot more yardage when he got that big frame rolling downhill. If we can hit one of these middle tight end screens to him, I just can't wait to see it because it's going to be beautiful. This is simply play side, guard and tackle, and the pulling tight end don't block this great. A lot of people were like, we should have been trying to get the first down on this 3rd and 4 that would have been taking knees so we don't have to kick a field goal and then play defense. I'm not sure that I need to explain this. We were trying to get the first down on this play. We weren't trying to just settle for a field goal. It was 3rd and 4. You're in 4-minute offense. You pound the rock and you go win the football game by having your offense that ran for 160 yards or so in the second half of this football game, getting 4 more yards by whooping the man in front of you and getting the first down. That's it. That's all we were doing right here. Wasn't complicated, and we just didn't block it great on this play.
Carrick to me should have blocked the outside guy, and I guess it Stays should have come in and cleaned up the inside guy. To me, I think Carrick should have kicked the outside guy out. Stays comes in behind that, takes the inside guy, and the crease is there for Sampson. See, Carrick takes the inside guy, and so does Stays. They both go for the inside guy. One of them, to me, and it should have been Carrick, kicks the outside guy out. Stays follows into the hole behind him, hits the inside guy, and it leaves a crease for Sampson to get through to pick the first down up.
And Kitzelman gets stood up, which is never what you want to see out of your tight end. It was a lowest man one on for Kitzelman on the end here. And if you watch Kitzelman, he gets stood straight up. If he's able to just win the battle, not win, if he's able to get a stalemate on the battle where he keeps his guy from putting him, Kitzelman's shoulders are straight back because he's being stood up, which kind of adds a bunch of mud to the traffic, to the running lane. And you're right, Carrick and Stays didn't realize. But right here, look at Kitzelman's. He does not get the push that he needs. Basically, what you wanted was Sampson one-on-one with Malachi Moore, and best man win for 4 yards, and you just didn't get it. But hey, we won a bunch of one-on-one blocks the other night against a team that's really hard to run on. Say what you want to about that football team. They have been really, 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 really tough to run them. Not the best pass rushing team in the country, but they have been definitely top 15 in the country running the football against. And
as much as we've maligned the offensive line in the last few weeks, I thought this was probably one of the best games that they played all season long.
Yeah. Nico was sacked a few times, hurt a few times, but all of it where they had to bring extra guys. Guarantee on every time he was sacked, there was a hot that was probably open because they were bringing in exotic pressures because they couldn't just win with 4 guys.
Yeah, I mean, again, same thing as last week with the Florida game. It's we're so close. We're really close. And when you go back and you rewatch it, you realize. I mean, watching the game, you could tell with the passes Nico overthrew how close we were. But then you go back and you rewatch some of the in the back of your mind, okay, we had guys wide open. But then you go back and you look at some of these plays that we've shown tonight, and you realize that you're even closer to even just having a consistent offense that can just consistently drive the football field. Because right now, I mean. And it's kind of what football is now with the way defenses play you. But almost all of our scoring drives, you have to have at least one explosive play within that scoring drive for us to be able to put points on the board. Yeah. I can't think back to a drive right now where we've just kind of methodically just drove down the field. And it's just the way football is in 2024 and what it's turned into is defenses, the way they play you now is – they really would rather you have to methodically drive down the field because they play the percentage chances of either you're going to get behind the sticks because of a penalty, we're going to create a tackle for loss and get you behind the sticks, or we're going to get you into a turnover because you're not going to drive the ball 9, 10, 12, 13 plays without making a mistake.
Yeah, odds are the more plays you run on a drive, sooner or later you're going to make one mistake.
Yeah.
If we as a defense don't make any catastrophic mistakes, we're going to make you probably kick a field goal.
Yeah. That's
really what it is. The last time we had a methodical drive, I think it was the final touchdown drive of the first half against Oklahoma. Without a huge we didn't have a big play in that drive. It was after the lateral pass play. Then we just went pound, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, 10. The 2 drives against Arkansas, we had a huge run on the first touchdown drive against Arkansas. The second drive against Arkansas, it was 30 yards of penalties on personal fouls that really were the big chunk plays on the drive.
Yeah.
And then in the Florida game, maybe one of the drives in the Florida game was a methodical. The overtime drive was kind of methodical. It was a pass play on first down, 2 run plays, and then another pass play, and then 2 final run plays to end it.
Well, I think the majority of those were short field situations too. You know, it wasn't like you were driving 50, 60, 70 yards. You were driving 30, 20, 25, you know, in some of those situations.
The drive when it was 10-0 against Florida, I just can't remember it right now. I'm kind of blanking how the drive went. It ended up in a Dylan Sampson touchdown. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
What, was it 9 touchdowns? Did we end up at before the Brazil catch? Sampson had scored our last 9 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah.
I read that correctly. Yeah. We're not saying enough good things about him. I know some people finally around the country are wising up that he is a legit Heisman guy. I think one guy has him on like a 6th or 7th on the ballot. I guess the problem is, I'm afraid with him, if the offense keeps going on this trajectory and we keep winning football games, he's going to play great, but there's also the chance that the quarterback starts playing better too, and the quarterback starts taking his national spotlight shine that may keep Dylan Sampson out of New York. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, the stats, if he continues on this trajectory, the stats are going to say he deserves to be there. But to your point, if the offense does start clicking, we do start hitting some of these explosive passing plays, Nico's going to get all the publicity for the offense being turned around. That's I mean, Sampson has carried his offense too.
Right or wrong. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Right or wrong, it's going to go to Nico.
I don't know. It's a pointless award anyway. Who cares?
Been pointless since what, 1997, right?
Hey, when we have somebody win it, I hope they just take it off the stand and drop it and say, "I don't care about that damn award," and walk out.
Yeah. Been screwed over plenty of times.
Yeah.
But this was good. Did a lot of good plays that we broke down. Maybe we can jump back in. If we got a bye week this week, and maybe we could jump back in early next week and just take some plays from the entire season. I'll cut up some plays from the entire season to this point, from maybe 1 or 2 from each game, and we can just kind of do that since we have a bye week this week. Maybe do something next Monday night, and then get back into it with our current games once the Kentucky game's over with.
Yeah, we can maybe break down a little bit of Kentucky film too, of like, maybe a little bit of cut up of them and what they've done, what they're going to throw at us defensively, maybe certain formations. Yeah. Bunch of stuff we can do with that. Everybody out there that watched tonight, thanks greatly. We appreciate you guys joining in. Again, every little bit you can do, hitting that follow button or that like button, that share button, retweet button, anything on my page on Twitter, Jordan's page on Twitter. I'm going to pop up our names there again, at Jordan Moore _21, at Big Orange Rusty. Follow us over there, share our videos. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, please do us a slight favor and hit that subscribe button. It'll help us out greatly. And we can do more and more of this, and we can get better with technology, and we can add more stuff to it and do more. The more you subscribe, the more you share, the more we can give you.
Yeah, and I'll just add too, I'm a basketball guy, and we have the first exhibition this Sunday. So, we're not just going to do this for just football. Me and Rusty's plans also is once basketball season comes around that we're going to also do this for basketball, because we're both basketball junkies also. So this isn't just football content. This is also going to be basketball content. So we're looking forward to doing that too. I know I am.
I can't wait till Sunday. I am fired up for our first look at the new team in person. Fun little matchup with Indiana. Should be a blast. Are you going, by the way?
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm excited about it.
All right. Can you make a sign saying "Hey" to me or something?
Yeah. I'll say this because we haven't told that story on here, because I know you said to ask. If I make it inside the arena, I'll be there.
Oh yeah. I had almost made it the whole show without bringing it up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, your friend, my friend, Jordan Moore, had a really good time at the tailgate before the Alabama game this past weekend, but he did not make it in the stadium and did not watch the ball game until the replays.
Yeah.
He might have overdone it and took a siesta during the game and then woke up from the siesta to find out we won and came back to campus to celebrate, which is an all-time great story that I think should be shared and revered. Could have been the winning edge. I went from one room to another in my house, switching TVs, changing up mojos every 5 minutes. So maybe you're napping through the game, recovering through the game was the winning edge.
Hey, I'll say this: after losing Alabama for however many years it was so long I done forgot what the streak was. And for me, having a little bit too much fun at a tailgate and passing out and missing the game leads us to beating Alabama. I will do it for 20 straight years. If it means it's a 20-year winning streak.
Hey, whatever it takes. One of my closest buddies, best man in my wedding, Georgia game, the Hail Mary Dobnell boot game. He happened to be in the basement playing with a bunch of kids that were at this, house party we were all at watching games that day. And we made a couple of good plays every time he had went down to the basement to roughhouse with kids or make sure the kids are okay. To finally, he came back upstairs one time and the entire house screamed, "You're not allowed out of the basement." The rest of the day. So we do what we have to.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I do this. Right. I do the same thing sometimes watching the game. If I go to a room or something and we start doing well, I'll stay in that room. So
yep.
Hey, but this was fun tonight, man. I appreciate it, and I'll holler at you later.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy the ball games. We probably need A&M to beat LSU. We need any combination of an SMU loss, a Pitt loss, a Clemson loss, a Miami loss would be great. Indiana needs to lose a couple times now. That'd be great. Who do we care about now? In last thing, who do we care about in Alabama, Missouri? Does it matter either way?
I mean, I think you probably want Alabama to beat Missouri to guarantee Missouri has that second loss because you hold the tiebreaker with Alabama right now. So, even if they beat Missouri, you hold the tiebreaker over them. So I would say probably Bama over Missouri to give Missouri that for sure second loss in the conference.
Yeah, you're right. All right, guys. Thanks everybody out there for watching and listening. We'll catch you on the next time.
All right, have a good night, everybody.